Well, another freaking price hike from Chanel. What else is new, right? Price hikes and Chanel go hand in hand. But now, a 200 ml bottle of a less exclusive fragrance like Le Lion retails for $500. $500 for this. Are you a fan of Le Lion? I'm a fan of Le Lion. Are you a fan of Sycamore? Get ready to pay $500 for a 200 ml. How about Coromandel? See, I've got not too much here. And if I need to buy another bottle, it's going to be $500 plus tax. But not only do we have price hikes on Chanel fragrances, they have also announced a new, less exclusive fragrance called Comete. A new fragrance called Comete in the less exclusive fragrances. Didn't Parlement de Parfum just come out with a fragrance called Comete Paradis? Can they get away with using the same name? Anyway, I'm going to break this all down for you guys. The price hike, the new fragrance, compared to other less exclusives, collection fragrances. I shouldn't say less exclusive, more like private blends and Privee collections, to see which brand has the best deal for their exclusive collection of fragrances as far as price goes. Anyway, find out all about this coming right up. Thanks so much for tuning in. It's Sebastian. We're talking about Chanel's price hikes, I should say, and their new fragrance Comete, which is going to be in the less exclusives collection. I believe Comete launches next month in March. I'm looking forward to it, but I'm a little concerned about one of the notes in there because I don't like that note. And also, cherry blossom. I don't get cherry blossom. I hate cherry blossom in fragrances, and I personally don't think it belongs in a Chanel fragrance. That's my opinion. Everything else about that fragrance does sound great, but something about the cherry blossom kind of turns me off. But yes, there's been a price hike for Chanel fragrances. They are now selling for $500 for a 200 ml less exclusive. This is the collection I'm talking about, but I believe all fragrances have had the price increase for Chanel. They seem to be doing it every year. 2 years ago on January 31, 2022, I did a video on price hikes at that time. And at that time, the price for these were $350. And then they had just increased it to $400. So these prices are going up. I didn't do a video on the price hike for Chanel last year, but I bought a bottle of Misia, which I don't have here. I bought it middle of last year, and I paid $450 for the 200 ml. So $50 went up last year. And this year, we've got another $50 increase for the less exclusives. It is now $500. Let me know if you think it's worth it to increase these prices. I mean, do you guys think it's worth it? Are you a fan of Chanel? I don't know about Chanel. You know, I love a lot of Chanel fragrances, but a lot of their fragrances do have a very classic edge, and they don't appeal to a lot of the modern population, or modern noses, as I should say. I think most people want something to smell modern, and the Chanel fragrances do have a classic leaning edge to them because they don't launch a lot of fragrances. They don't. And so a lot of people might find the fragrances a bit old and tired. Are you, like, if you're a younger person, do you enjoy Chanel fragrances? Or do you consider them classic leaning? You know, the words that I hear are grandma or dad or something, depending on the fragrance. But let me know. I just don't know if there's a huge market in the world that appreciates Chanel fragrances for Chanel to keep, you know, jacking up the prices on their fragrances. If they launched fragrances fast over and over again, like Tom Ford does with their private blend collection, maybe that might be, you know, something worth it. But with the fact that their fragrances are a bit classic leaning, vintage-esque, is there a big market for them? Maybe because the brand is so hyped, maybe there is a market for them. But I personally, I think their fragrances are a bit tired. And from what I hear from, you know, people that comment on my videos, they make it sound like they're a bit tired, too classic or something. Again, I really appreciate a lot of their fragrances. I do. I love classic fragrances. I love a lot of Chanel's classic fragrances, but personally, I'm not sure if there's a big market for it. And I don't know the business of Chanel fragrances. I guess they feel that they need to raise the prices up on these fragrances, so they're doing it. But wow, when I first started buying Chanel Les Exclusifs, it was when these fragrances, not this particular one, Le Lion, which is actually the last fragrance that Chanel launched in the Les Exclusifs collection. But like Coromandel, I bought probably 2 eau de toilettes before I had to buy the eau de parfum here. And I remember the prices were so low. They were around the 200 when they were, selling these fragrances. Something has happened and, the prices just keep going up. Is it that expensive to produce these perfumes? What do you guys think? Do let me know. And as I said, the last time the prices went up, I did a video on it 2 years ago. They were $350, went up to $400. And I believe when I bought my Le Lion, it was $300 from what I remember. It could have been $350 when I bought my bottle of Le Lion, but I thought it was $300. So at that time, I thought it was expensive. But now we've got a major price increase. And so, yeah, I bought Le Lion in 2021, very early, I think, or maybe late 2020. And I think I bought at that time for around $300 or $350. And since then, they haven't launched a new fragrance. In fact, there isn't a new fragrance at all anywhere for this house. What the heck does Olivier Polge do all day if he's the in-house perfumer? What does he make? They're not cranking out fragrances. So what does he do? Just pick his nose sitting at a desk somewhere? I know that the brand probably goes through a lot of reformulations, so maybe that's what he's working on. But why doesn't Chanel launch more fragrances? They haven't launched a men's fragrance for a long, long time. And so, yeah, I don't know what Olivier Polge does. Why does Chanel need an in-house perfumer when they hardly ever launch any fragrances? And so also, they raise prices up, but no new fragrances, In the last video I did, I gave you some alternatives to some of the more popular Chanel Les Exclusifs fragrances, but I have a new alternative here as well. But if you want to find out some of the alternatives that are less expensive for some of their popular fragrances like Coromandel, Sycamore, we also have Boy, we have Jersey. Go watch that video. The last time I did a video on price hikes for Chanel, there will be alternatives in that video. There will be alternatives in that video for Le Lion as well, but I have an alternative here from the house of TIZIANA TERENZI that I think is a lot more appropriate than some of the ones that are in that video. This is called HALE BOPP. So if you bought this suggested retail, this is $4.95 for 100 ml, but they are at the discounters for like more than 50% off. And I wanted to recommend it because it's a great value if you're looking to find a bottle of Le Lion. It's too expensive for you. The other good thing about the TIZIANA TERENZI is that TIZIANA TERENZI fragrances are extrait de parfum and Chanel's are eau de parfum. So you do have a better longevity. So for me, I find HALE BOPP to be a great alternative for Le Lion, minus the animalic parts of Le Lion that are not here. For me, it's a great smelling amber, really potent, and basically taking the amber from Le Lion minus the smoky, leathery touches that are in Le Lion. And basically, that's what you get with HALE BOPP. So the price for this is $221 currently at FragranceNet for 100 ml. I've got prices, or the mil prices, per mil prices, I should say. So $221 for 100 ml. Price points are 1 ml for $240, 2 ml for $481, 3 ml for $721, 5 ml for $1202, 10 ml for $2403, 30 ml for $7210. So if you were going to break down the prices on per mil prices of the HALE BOPP, those are what it would be. But again, keep in mind that the Chanel is eau de parfum and the HALE BOPP is extrait de parfum, and I get great longevity with the HALE BOPP. But speaking of price breakdowns, I've got the per mil prices of the Chanel Les Exclusifs fragrances. Remember, 200 ml, $500, and then there is a 75 ml bottle of this as well, which is $325. So the more juice there is, the less expensive it seems like when you factor in the mathematics for the per mil price. So a 1 ml this is including tax. So it's about $545 for the Chanel Le Lion with tax, because these prices that I'm quoting you are without the sales tax, but about $5.45 for a 200 ml, which means it's for a 1 ml it's $2.72. A 2 ml is $5.44, 3 ml is $8.16, 5 ml is $13.59, 10 ml is $27.19, 30 ml is $81.56, and so on. So that's the price per mil if you were to buy a 200 ml for, and you're going to maybe split it with somebody that you know, or, do decants or something. But if you were to do that with the 75 ml bottle, which is $3.25 for a 75 versus $500 for a 200, if you just do the math, it's it makes sense to go with the larger bottle. So 1 ml would be $4.71 versus a 1 ml $2.72 between the 75 ml and the 200 ml. So 2 ml $9.43 versus 2 ml $5.44, 3 ml $14.14 versus 3 ml $8.16, 5 ml for $23.56, 5 ml with the $500 200 ml is $13.59, and so on. The 30 ml from a 75 ml is $141.38 versus 30 ml from the 200 ml, it's $81.56. So those are the Chanel Les Exclusifs prices per mil, depending on what size bottle you get, whether it's the 200 ml or the 75 ml bottle. And again, if you're a person that buys fragrances, do you buy the larger bottles or the smaller bottles? Do let me know, put a comment down below. But I think it's a better deal to buy the larger bottle, but some of you don't want that much juice, so you're kind of forced to buy the smaller bottle, which is less expensive, but depending on how much juice there is, it turns out more expensive. So those are the Chanel prices. Let's do a comparison to the Dior Privee prices. A 250 ml bottle, because Dior bottles are 250 ml, so they are more juice and also less expensive. A 250 ml Dior Privee bottle is $450 versus a 200 ml Chanel Les Exclusifs bottle is $500. So it's $50 less, 50 ml more juice, which turns out to be for a with the tax, it's $489. So 1 ml would be $196, 2 ml would be $392, 3 ml $587, 5 ml $979, 10 ml $1958, 30 ml $58.73. There is also another size from the Dior Privee collection, 125 ml versus a 250 ml, and the price is $330 for a 125 ml, $450 for a 250 ml. So like 125 ml more, you pay $120 and you get like half more juice for that price. So again, it works out to be a better deal to buy the larger bottle. Then you have a lot of juice. Do you use it up? All of it. So if you did 125 ml, 1 ml would be $287, 2 ml would be $574, 3 ml would be $861, 5 ml would be $1436, 10 ml would be $2871, 30 ml would be $8613. So that's the Dior Privee pricing compared to the Chanel. And I think between the three brands I'm going to talk to you about Tom Ford now. The Dior Privee is the best price points, followed by the Chanel, then the Tom Ford. And the Tom Ford, there's two different price structures. There's the private blend fragrances that feature fragrances like Tobacco Vanille, Oud Wood, Tuscan Leather, Noir de Noir. And then there's a price level that's the more higher end private blend, which includes fragrances like Vanilla Sex, Lost Cherry and things like that. Although Lost Cherry doesn't come in the decanter, so you have to double check to see what comes in a decanter. Rose Prick does, and so on. But 250 ml Tom Ford private blend like Tobacco Vanille, it's $890. It's so much more money. So $890 for 250 ml juice. With tax, it's $967.88. 1 ml $387, 2 ml $774, 3 ml $1161, 5 ml $19.36, 10 ml $38.72, 30 ml $116.15. So that is from the 250 ml bottle. But if you bought a 100 ml bottle of that same fragrance, Tobacco Vanille, from that collection of the private blend collection fragrances, it's like $450 and it becomes $483 with a tax. So then it becomes $484 for 2 ml is $9.68, 3 ml is $14.52, 5 ml is $24.20, 10 ml is $48.39, 30 ml is $145.18. Finally, there's also a 50 ml bottle, which means you're getting less juice for more expensive. It's $295 for the 50 ml, $321 with tax. That makes 1 ml for $6.42, 2 ml for $12.83, 3 ml for $19.25, 5 ml for $32.08, 10 ml for $64.16, 30 ml for $192.49. So that is the collection of Tom Ford private blend fragrances that are in the less expensive private blend. Because if you move on to something like the vanilla sex level of a private blend, then you're actually paying a lot more, because the 250 ml of vanilla sex is $1,350. With tax, it's $14.68. And again, I'm a big fan of vanilla sex. I absolutely love it. And a lot of people didn't like it for some strange reason. Maybe because it's too expensive. I don't know. But if you factor in the price points or do the math, 1 ml is $5.87 for the vanilla sex from the 250 ml bottle. 2 ml is $11.75. 3 ml is $17.62. 5 ml is $29.36. 10 ml is $58.73. 30 ml is $176.18. But there's also a 50 ml bottle of vanilla sex, and it's $3.95 for the 50 ml. Plus tax, it's $4.30. Then you're paying $8.59 for 1 ml, $17.18 for 2 ml. 3 ml, you're paying $25.77. 5 ml, you're paying $42.96. 10 ml, you're paying $85.91. 30 ml, you're paying $257.74. So those are the prices of these different, exclusive collections from different brands. And I feel like Dior is the best price point. There's other designers that have their, exclusive collections. Like, for example, Louis Vuitton. There's also Givenchy's collection. There's Armani Privé, the Gucci Alchemist. Most of those only have 100 ml. Louis Vuitton, I left off. They do have 200 ml bottles. The other thing with Louis Vuitton is that they're also refillable. So it's a better deal if you use a lot of the perfume. You can go back and get it refilled. And there's like a $75 or $100 discount for refilling versus buying another bottle. But sometimes people like the bottles and they buy new bottles and things like that. Some people don't have a Louis Vuitton that they go to or they can go to physically, so they'd have to order it because you can't send the bottle and back and forth. It's not cost effective or anything like that. So I left those off, but mostly these are the three big designers that have these exclusive fragrances that most people talk about, and wanted to compare. But what do you guys think about all of these price hikes? A lot of the designers are raising their prices up, and I think we're all getting a little upset. But I think the most disappointing for me after reading all the prices is Tom Ford. Tom Ford's prices are just extremely outrageous. But the cool thing about Tom Ford is they are continuously releasing new fragrances. They're keeping us interested. Whereas with Chanel, not only do their fragrances have a classic edge to them, kind of a classic leaning styling with their fragrances. Do you guys agree with this? Sure, they have some modern fragrances, but a lot of their fragrances do have that classic leaning edge. But they don't release fragrances often, so they just become kind of boring. As a house, they become kind of boring, and I'm kind of bored of Chanel because they're not releasing new fragrances. But then they have this new Chanel Comete, a fragrance that's coming out. What do you guys think about this new fragrance? Iris, Cherry Blossom, Heliotrope, Musk. Are you excited for this fragrance? The Cherry Blossom actually turns me off. I am not interested in the Cherry Blossom note whatsoever. It's one of my least favorite notes. There might be one fragrance here and there that features cherry blossom but goes into a cherry smelling direction. But for me, cherry blossom is one of the most boring smells ever. So this fragrance sounds a bit boring to me. Everything else about it sounds great. The iris, the heliotrope, the musk. It's going to be an uber powdery fragrance. But why? Why, Chanel? Why do you add cherry blossom in a fragrance? That does not make sense to me. Now, sometimes cherry blossom can smell a bit almondy. I notice a lot of like fruit blossoms do have that kind of almondy edge. Even lilacs have a bit of almondy edge. So maybe it's not going to go into this very fresh, floral, watery, kind of cherry-like direction. And they're going to take out the more almondy touches of it. But I mean, I'm curious about Comete, but I'm a little hesitant about it because of this cherry blossom note. If any of you have gotten your nose on it, what do you guys think? I think it launches next month. I'm anticipating for it. I'll be in Europe when this thing launches, so I might be able to get it even before people get it here. But then sometimes, you know, the brands send things here to the USA before they launch over there. But we shall see how it is. Again, over there, prices are also less expensive on all fragrances versus prices here. So a $500 200 ml Chanel Les Exclusifs fragrance most likely is around 400 euros, somewhere around there, maybe 395, which makes it a better deal. But these price hikes are really, really disappointing. And I'm hoping Comete will be good enough to buy. And again, if that cherry blossom is going into more of an almondy direction, which I find will be better suited for the fragrance overall, iris, heliotrope, musk. Heliotrope already has that kind of almondy edge about it. So I'm just hoping it's that kind of a fragrance, which means this fragrance is going to be kind of nutty and powdery, buttery perhaps with the iris, and of course musky. The heliotrope, again, is a great note that I've been enjoying quite a bit. It does suit being connected with the iris and the musk. So let's see what the cherry blossom does. We shall see. But let me know your thoughts on all of these issues with Chanel price hikes, no fragrances being launched fast enough. They haven't launched a men's release for a long time. I mean, what are they thinking? Are they just not interested, or I don't know. We'll see what happens. Maybe they are planning something soon, and we shall see it. But what do you guys think about the collection of fragrances from Chanel? If you're a man, do you like their fragrances? Are they kind of lacking in launching new fragrances for us to, consume and things like that? Do let me know. Put a comment down. And also let me know what your thoughts are on Comete in general. Are you a fan of the Chanel fragrances and anticipating this one? One thing I forgot to mention, or maybe I did mention it, but this is Comete Paradis from the house of Parfum de Parfum. So now we have two fragrances with the similar name. What's going on over there? I guess they can get away with using the same name. But yeah, let me know what your thoughts are on Comete. Let me know what your thoughts are on the Chanel Les Exclusifs prices, or just the general price hike in general. And also, what do you think about the prices of the different, exclusives or private blend collection fragrances from all the different brands I compared to? Do you enjoy Dior Privee fragrances more than Chanel Les Exclusifs fragrances versus Tom Ford private blend collection fragrances? Which do you prefer the most? For me, I like Tom Ford the most because they do have a really wide variety of fragrances, and also they crank out a lot of fragrances. So if you're disappointed with one, you have another one that's coming very soon. With Chanel, I'm bored. I want something new and exciting, and they never launch anything. With Dior, the best price out of all three, but I've been a little disappointed with their fragrances recently, especially also because they're discontinuing a lot of their more popular fragrances. I thought they were popular, but perhaps something is in it that they're discontinuing it, or just is not selling. Anyway, thanks so much for watching today's video. If you have any questions or comments, please list below. Please like this video. Please share it. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.